Hi, everybody. This is attempt two at this. The first one came out. Much sharper than it probably should have because of the emotions that were raised. So it has been a few years since I've even checked this channel. I suppose I've been holding on to it to reminisce occasionally about the good old days that really weren't so good. And I have been reluctant to let it go. But this channel is essentially a dead channel. And I bring this up because I noticed that I had a new subscriber on this channel, and I had someone else asking me for videos about more Warfan. I really do appreciate it. I really do. But it's probably not going to happen. And the more I got to thinking about it, the more I felt I needed to explain why. I have since gone through and marked all the videos on here to private so that no one else has that miscommunication. I believe that integrity is the number one consideration you should have in your martial arts instructor. And I had a situation happen at the school at which I was an assistant instructor that I don't feel was handled correctly. That's about as neutral as I can phrase that compared to the yelling and raging that the former video that you will never see had in it. Regretfully, that school owner is fairly legitist. It's late. You know what I mean? He likes to sue people. What went wrong went so bad that to this date, I cannot do a kata and not feel intense rage, grief, sorrow, heartbreak. It's bad. And because of that, what martial arts I do now I would feel very uncomfortable showing it to somebody else. Because when the break happened, it led me to question everything I had been taught. I remember thinking, if somebody could do this to me, what must it say about everything else they've ever taught me? And for a period of, I'd say probably about a year and a half there, I doubted everything I had done. And you must understand that I had changed everything in my life to become a full-time martial arts instructor based on this person's recommendation and based on this person's tutelage. And it all went sideways. And why did it go sideways? I think the safest way to say it was ego, and not on my part. That's how I feel about it. And I'm pretty sure I can say that, and there not be any grounds for a lawsuit. Sadly, the emotional gunk has never really gone away, and I don't think it's ever going to. When you hear about people talk about why they don't want to go back to organized religion because of being so let down by the example of the priesthood, this was a very similar situation. I can't even go. And it's complicated the fact that I can't be completely forthcoming about exactly what happened. So you, the viewer, are stuck having to take my word for it. And I understand that, so I'm not going to burden you with it. And I'm not going to go through a litany of everything that went wrong. But what few viewers this channel had were very kind and were very sincere in their lives as a martialist. My own personal term I like better than martial artist. So I feel you're owed an explanation. This is what happened. I didn't just quit. It's just that when every day you're doing a kata and you feel like, my God, I wasted my life. And that's what you go through every day you do a kata. You shouldn't be an instructor. When you look at everything you've done martial arts wise, and can't look back on it and not think, my God, what a waste of time. Shouldn't be an instructor. And from what I've been hearing, this is not an uncommon phenomenon in the industry. Often, when you're training in a school that isn't part of a large organization like the JKA or the WTF, when you're dealing with those small mom and pop martial arts schools, ego becomes a factor that cannot be surmounted. And many a fine martial arts instructor has probably gone through exactly what I'm going through. They probably have come up with different answers because of the way they're geared. I just can't bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to get up there in front of a bunch of people, swear to them that I can keep them safe, that I can help refine their character, that I can give them a true, honest path towards the Tao, when I was promised that, and it didn't happen. That would make me feel like a phony. In the time since this happened, I had one student, just one. And I don't feel bad about that because with what happened to him, me taking him under my tutelage for a certain amount of time, that needed to happen to help keep him balanced. Rather than that, I can't do it. And I would feel uncomfortable if any of you doing something I presented on the internet were to try it and get harmed. So there we are. Some advice I can give you if you're looking at becoming a martial artist. Join a big school. Don't join a mom and pop shop. Join something that's alive with JKA, the WTF. I'm going to swallow my pride here, even the Gracies, although I would prefer the Machados. Go to something that has a long proven track record. Do not trust the mom and pop school right away unless you personally know those people or know people who know those people. Looking back on it, my great error was the very first class I stepped into was with this small independent operator, and they were very charismatic and they could brush away the doubts. And when you're trained in martial arts, you're trained starting off, do the kata, don't ask questions. And so you do the kata, you don't ask questions. Pretty soon that becomes a habit. Then you start asking questions about things you see that don't add up, problems occur. And that's pretty much what happened with me. So, at least in my opinion. So, that's that. That's probably about as neutral as I can talk about that. So, find a big school. You want to do something that's striking oriented to start with, because striking is easier. You want to mix that with some boxing and sparring. Then you want to do something grappling oriented, such as wrestling or jiu-jitsu. And between that, you'll have a pretty good basis for your own self-defense and your own progression. One of the commentators noted that, particularly in the fan work, I was doing stuff that they had never seen before in a Tai Chi class or in any of the other softer forms of Kung Fu. And they said, we could actually learn how to fight with a fan from you. Please make more videos. Please realize that all I did was I took those basic Tai Chi forms and I asked myself, if I really had to defend myself with this, what would I do? And that's what came out. If I can do that, you can too. You probably want to start this kind of exploration after you get your first black/black belt. After doing martial arts for about 45 years. I feel that 45-year mark is a really good mark, a really good demarcation of having enough experience with your system to know what it can and can't do and how to modify it for you. Again, I humbly and gratefully appreciate all the comments on this channel that were there, that were encouraging and were thankful and were kind. And I wish things had gone differently. I wish I had my original idea of a school. That's just not what's going to happen. You can cling to the rock and get battered against it, or you can get into the stream and swim sideways to the shore. A little paraphrase of the Dale, but you get the idea. And that's what I've been doing. And maybe someday in the far future, I'll be emotionally healed enough to have a few students. But that's what it is. So on an ending note, I appreciate all of you, and fuck that guy.